got an item that is not on the agenda that we're going to take care of first, and Todd is going to take care of that.
Yes. What I wanted to do is, as most of y'all know, the mayor initiated a youth, Mike's teaching, okay, he's coming, city attorney. Started a youth exchange program for the summer, and we were lucky enough to get 10 students. And I can tell you, I am happy to say all of them are still here, and I can tell you, the past 2 days working in the environment they worked in, they should be very proud of themselves because it's hot and it's hard work. So we're excited to see all of them here, and I hope that they continue to work hard. And we're going to put them with some supervisors and managers during the week and have them working. What I want to do is just introduce each one of them, and if you could just raise your hand as I introduce you, okay? And then again, appreciate y'all, and I hope everything works out for y'all, and keep working hard at what y'all are doing to be successful in life. All right? And if I butcher your name, I am so sorry. This Deja Johnson, okay. Darnisha Robinson, Ladarius Smith, Lindell Craven, okay. Braylon Woodell, Willie Hughes, David Johnson, and actually David worked for us for 4 weeks with Maria through the workforce center, actually in the meter department doing metering work also, and he's been back with us again for this, so it's great. Dantarius Rucker, Francisco Gonzalez, and Christopher Gonzalez. Again, I think they're all West Memphis students, is that correct? All West Memphis students? They're either in 11th or 12th grade, so again, I know from my little experience, this is a good group of hardworking guys, and like I said, we were all wondering. And ladies, I'm sorry. I know. Guys and gals, so again, I appreciate what y'all are doing and keep up the good work, and look forward to what y'all will do the rest of the summer. Anything good? Thank you. Go ahead. Y'all just want to walk out? Yeah?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bob said he told them to wear clothes you don't mind getting dirty in, and they still all showed up. Okay, the first item of our agenda is to approve the minutes of the June 13th meeting. I think you got them all in your packet.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the minutes of the June 13th.
Have a motion by Mr. Holmes.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Brown. Any additions or deletions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. I would like to acknowledge our Coca-Cola representatives. They're back with us. They got big things going on out there, haven't you?
Fixing to get busy.
Okay, next item is our June safety report.
Good morning, all.
Morning.
We've added a recordable this last meeting, and it was a severe allergic reaction to poison ivy and some prescription medications, and that is a recordable that bumped us into 3 for the year. We're still doing great on the lost time days, 639, so we're going to try to continue on with that streak. And of course our incident rate changed. We went up to 9.1 for June, and then I added in 4,000 hours to get us to today at 8.5, and that's a secret to the game. We've got to stay accident free with a comparable number of working hours to keep that number down. And Dana, to what you had asked about how are we comparing, I am compiling some information. I've got a couple of utilities that have responded back, so I will come back with something. Alright, safety training. Last month we had a work zone strategies for operation class, and that's over the manual on uniform traffic control devices and our work zones out here in the street. And we had an instructor come in under that T2 program that's free with the Arkansas Highway Transportation Department. He basically gave the supervisors and frontline people some ideas of how to utilize the manual and how to set up our work zones. And then we had our June safety meeting covering 5 contributing factors to workplace injuries, and these are kind of right in line with, you get down to the root causes of things. The distractions, I mean, it can be mental, something that's going on at home, not necessarily just what's going on at work. You know, if our head's not in the game, then something can happen. Of course, always complacency. We do the same task over and over again, and it leads us to doing short ones. Poor housekeeping. We actually had a couple that were due to that. We tightened that up and got rid of some hazards that were just kind of, they should have been dealt with. And that's one of the things that, like I said, we could definitely do better in. Pre-planning, that's something as well. I think we're going to need to start doing a lot more discussion about what jobs we're doing, and we'll start paying attention to the hazards that are involved in. And then lastly, the taking shortcuts. That falls along with everybody wants to take shortcuts. It's hot right now. Let's don't do everything. But all in all, I think we're doing fairly well. From what I'm seeing, these numbers are coming back. We're doing fairly well. I actually had one compliment, so I can tell y'all making a difference. So I'm proud of that. And then last thing I got, it's hot, and we're combating the heat. We've had 10 days total of high heat indexes since about June 21st. So all of July has been high heat indexes. And again, we're stressing, even with these high school students, staying hydrated, 2 to 4 cups of water every 20 minutes. And we're also supplementing our Gatorade. Trying to work first thing in the morning, taking more breaks in the shade and air conditioning wherever we can. So we'll keep our fingers crossed to keep at that and don't have any heat-related illnesses. Other than that, like that's all I've got. If somebody's got any questions.
Is that a standard 2 to 4 cups every
It is. It sounds like a lot, yes, but yeah, if you're directly in the heat, it's not that much because your body is. What they say is when you start getting thirsty, you're already 2 to 4% dehydrated. Your body's already dehydrated. So a bottle of water. It's a lot.
That's probably the reason I don't do well outside. I don't drink that much.
I drink about 5 of those.
2 hours later. Don't, yeah.
And don't drink it while you're out there.
Before you get started.
I'm going to excuse myself.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Any
sir.
questions? Actually have a forklift training going on right now, so.
Yeah, we're trying to speed it up to get the outside driving skills done before it gets too hot.
It's
So
already,
I know. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
no, next item on the agenda is personnel update. I'm just waiting for you to take off.
All right. Personnel update, we do not have any new hires or resignations for the month of June. I can tell you, though, we did hire 4 employees for the water department. They're going through the process, though, of the background checks and the drug screening to make sure everything clears. So I hope by next month we'll have 4 new employees for the water department starting. If not, we need 1 more to fill it, so hopefully we'll be able to say that department is full, other than the top level supervisor position that we don't currently have. And I know in the office, they've submitted their paperwork also to start working on filling the open positions that they have for customer service 2 and customer service 3s. And the electric department right now, the only one we're actively looking for is tree trimming. And we have not, we're trying to hope we can find somebody with some experience on that, and have not been able to do that at this time. Other than that, everywhere else we're good. Okay.
Any questions, comments? Thank you, Don. Next item on the agenda is the financial report for May.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Okay, so we're gonna start with the comparative year to actual year to date versus budget year to date on the left. Right now we are at $654,934 for the year, compared to budget, which would have been $449,000. And on the right side, we have year to date versus 2018. And in 2018, as of May, we were at $928,000.
You want to talk a little bit about what we found?
Yes.
Just found it yesterday on the capital expenditures.
On the capital expenditures, we found that there was a purchase for 500 street lights at $728 a piece, which equals $364,000. Do you have the
Laws.
Yeah.
It's on.
Or the monthly one, whichever.
Yeah, it's the next one.
Okay, so on the profit loss, $364,000 is this.
And that was she sent it to me, and I was like, I know we didn't change out 500 street lights because of Miss Key. It should have been 500 feet of triplex wire instead of 500. So, and so we're gonna have to address that back. So that's actually $300,000. That's going to roll back in out of the capital expenditures. So when you kind of look at that, we're basically online. If you take $300,000 out of the capital expenditures year to date, it puts us basically right where we're at compared to last year.
So we paid an invoice, or?
It wasn't a paid invoice, it was an inventory distribution, yeah, distribution. And Mississippi tongue wasn't working. So it was just, they transferred it, and I'm like, hold it, something ain't right there. It was just a huge number, and she got in and looking at it. I was like, I know we didn't change it. 500 street lights.
Wouldn't have maybe an inventory.
Yeah.
Right.
That's it. That's the other thing. But otherwise, again, everything's looking good. We're right on line with the same as last year. Also, the audit has been completed for 2018. We are going to be scheduling our exit interview with the accounting firm. So then next month we should be presenting our 2018 audit. Finally. But we have not had the exit interview yet, so it's not officially final yet.
They completed their field work.
There you go. And have a report to present to us.
The hot weather is helping. It's taking care of that cool spring.
Any questions?
Okay, any further questions, comments? Next item on the agenda is approval for the price of vehicle pricing engineering department.
All righty. you have in front of you a state bid for a Bell Chevrolet Colorado. It's a two-wheel drive vehicle for $23,514. This is off the state bid list. I can tell you, this is one of the items I got in trouble for last year. I thought if it was done on the state bid list, I did not have to go through the formal process of still getting approved because it's been through the bid process. I was incorrect. So this is one we're fixing to buy. The next one you're going to approve, we actually have already bought it and have it. Yeah, but I need y'all to approve us doing that. So again, I apologize for that. I thought since it went through a formal bid process that satisfied the needs, because this is off the state bid list.
It's a normal bid process for another organization.
It's for the state. Yeah, for the state. And I just need y'all to approve the low bid of $23,514 for that vehicle.
Why not buy two of the $21,000 vehicles?
Because we do not want a four-wheel drive for that other vehicle.
Isn't it weird that you can get a four-wheel drive truck cheaper?
That's the first thing I noticed is.
So moved.
Have a motion by Mr. Burns, second by Mr. Holmes. Any further discussion on the approval of the purchase of a small crew cab, two-wheel drive for $23,514? All in favor? All opposed? And that's another thing, that's a crew cab truck, this other one. Okay, the next item, approval of vehicle pricing for the electric department.
All right. And again, this is off the state bid list. And I ask that y'all approve the low bid of I'm gonna say $21,290 because we did add a cruise control to the vehicle.
So moved.
So I have a motion by Ms. Burns, second by Ms. Burns. Brown, excuse me. I got hot this morning. I didn't drink my 2 to 4 cups of water. Okay, all in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. That's out of trouble.
Thank you.
Next item is approval to refer small wireless communication facility regulation ordinance for city council.
All right. Tell y'all a little bit about what this is. There is a push across the country to deploy 5G by the wireless providers. And in order for them to deploy 5G, they basically come in and have to put a box on in an area that was highly dense, with a lot of high density, so that it can then have the signal for everybody to be able to pick up. Okay, so it'll have the speeds. They had a state ordinance that came through, or not a state ordinance, I said that wrong, my state bill that was passed that went and allows them to get in public right of way, okay? But there's a lot of regulations associated. There's a lot of regulations also passed with that, okay? Our Arkansas Municipal Power Association attorney, general counsel, took part during that legislation and helped get the bill set a certain way so where it satisfies the municipals across the state. From that, he has written an ordinance and basically a set of guidelines of how, when they come in here and say, hey, we want to put these on your poles, on your street lights, in the public right of way, how it's going to be regulated. It's not only the utility department, but it's also the planning and development department, because technically, by state law, they could come in and say, I want to put it on a bus stop pole. Or, hey, well, that tree's on public right away. I'm using an extreme situation, but they can put it up, and there's no regulations of the appearance of them and the size of them. So this ordinance, I did not put it in each packet because you can see it. It's a very detailed, very extensive ordinance. Has been written. He came in and went over it with the utility department, Mike Stevenson, and the planning department, Paul Luker. We had some comments. He's going back, making some amendments, and going to get it back to us in its final format. The reason I'm bringing it to you at this time is because the state law requires us to have this in place by September 1st. If I waited till August and then I went to city council, the only way I could get it done then is by the emergency clause, which I think they would allow me to do, but I would prefer it not be done under the emergency clause. So I'm asking that y'all approve the ordinance pending final approval of the city attorney, so that we can go ahead and then get this on the city council agenda and it gets signed and approved before August 1st. Yes.
September.
August 1st.
No, September.
I want it approved by city council before August 1st, so it then rides out the 30-day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because then it has the 30-day wait period.
That's right.
I know.
Yeah, you don't want
I'm thinking all through them dates through my head.
You don't want to put it on the emergency clause, and in order to do that, we need to have it approved, so the 30 days is before September 1.
That is correct.
Okay, so the benefit that we're getting out of this is the fact that our citizens are able to get
5G.
5G.
That is correct.
Okay, so they're not paying anything for it up there, are they maintaining it, or
That's correct. They'll be required to maintain it. And it's actually, if you want, I can give you, it's actually, there's a yearly fee if they connect to our poles. There's actually some beautification of how it has to look. It can't be bigger than this. The utilities is going to oversee the process. They're going to have to submit each one to us, and we're going to actually do a study on each pole because of the weight restrictions on each pole. So, and it's going to be analyzed, and they'll pay for those evaluations. Anything that has to be upgraded, because again, Lord, size of these things, Lord, I mean, they're.
You have a college student and they have a refrigerator in their dorm room. It's a little smaller than that.
So some of our poles might have to be upgraded. They will bear that expense.
This is actually not costing us.
That's correct.
Okay.
And the key before September 1st is, if we pass this ordinance and it becomes effective after September 1st and they find one issue that they say that doesn't meet the state statute or federal, they can go and say, that doesn't meet state statute, and the whole ordinance gets thrown out. Every bit of it. If it gets approved before, if it's enacted before September 1st and they find one item, you can fix that one item and say, okay, now it does. So that's the key. We want it to where it's in place, and if they do find something that does not meet state statute, it's only that one item we have to correct. But I can tell you, he is doing this he's making a whirlwind tour, and his name is Jason Carter. He's done it for North Little Rock, he's done it for Jonesboro, he's doing it for Paragould, he's doing it for us. He's also doing this for Benton, Arkansas. He's basically doing it for all the municipals. And each one's a little different, you know, on their board setups and how they act with the city.
Mr. Boyd, do you have a
Well,
question?
I did, but I can just wait. I talk to City Attorney.
Okay. Now, if we mount these on the poles, we get rent.
That's correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
Where does the power come from?
Us. And we also charge for the power consumption.
Oh, that's spelled out.
Yes, it is.
It's
all in
Yeah,
here.
it's 53 pages long, I think.
Again, if y'all want a copy of it, if you want me to give you this electronically, it's in there.
Our city attorney reads that stuff and
Well, and I
understands.
think the main thing about it is if we don't do it by that deadline, then we don't have as much control over particularly aesthetics, but also the procedure that we go through to, and it's an administrative, somebody's gonna be dedicated, I think we know who it is, to, working on these, and it's gonna be something that's gonna be a learning experience. Yeah, but it gives us some more control than we would have if we had to default to the state law, so.
Well, could I say this?
Yeah, go ahead.
We get a copy of that, I'm just saying to each council member.
We can do that.
Before we get it, that way, you know, we can look at it, say 53 pages
Sure,
long,
yeah, I
that
mean,
question we can ask.
you'll probably read a few pages and then put it aside.
I can tell you,
So the electronic copy.
probably, and I can give you the back page, Appendix A is the fee structure, and it's summarized. The rest of it is how you apply the ordinance and all I can get that, and that's just a single page, and it's very brief and simple.
It's good reading material.
That is it.
Rims is important.
I'm making, the key is, like you said, making sure our citizens are held harmless for any expenses and the others that are already on the pole also, because there's already other folks that are on that pole and using the pole area for purposes, and we want to make sure they're all held harmless also, that, you know, none of putting these things on our poles, nobody else bears expense but the telecom that's putting them up.
I make a motion that we the ordinance subject to finalization by the
City attorney.
city attorney.
I have a motion by Ms. Marshall, second by Ms. Brown. Any further discussion or comments? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Technology is going to get us here. Next item on the agenda is approval to transfer $20,000 to the Youth Empowerment Service Program.
Okay. As y'all already gave y'all the little presentation of the students that are working for us, what I'm asking is for us to transfer $20,000 from the utilities to the budget inventory. This is all being paid out of a single fund. They're moving
Right.
all of the money into a single fund so it can be paid out of there. So I'm just wanting to transfer $20,000 from our existing budget. The budget's not going up, it's not changing. As y'all know, we've had some shortages in labor. I'm using the students to help do some of the maintenance and stuff that that, you know, would have already been done by some of these other employees. So there is no increase in our budget. It's no extra cost on the.
That's their payroll.
That's right. It's just they want it all moved and paid. And I had suggested that at first, that, hey, can I just pay, you know, the kids out of my payroll? And they said, no, we would like to move all of it into one area so it's a dedicated fund. I said, okay. So that's why I'm having to come to you, because it is going to be an extra line item that will be a transfer to another department.
So moved, I think it's a good
Have a motion by Mr. Holmes, second Mr. Barnes. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Anything else to come before us? Yes, sir.
I got something that I would like to say in reference to the employee raises back in January. Of course, I guess the rumor is that, you know, some of the employees over here, they got raises, some of them didn't. And I think that they're trying to push it back on the city council. Well, you know, utility commission are the one that pushes forth the recommendation to us. And that's the only thing that we have to go on. And what I'm saying, I'm trying to, it was stated that I said sometime back that, that I pushed the ordinance, the recommendation came back that I said that, well, let's go forth, which I did say that, because number one, you all have the money, and at the same time, the reason I said that was not the delay process. Now, whether people got raises over here or not, that was not our fault, okay? And I just wanted to clear that up because that's the rumor. They're saying, well, it's the city council fault. No, it was not. This commission made the recommendation. Only thing we do is just prove your recommendation. So I just wanted to make sure that that was clear so the employees would know that we had nothing to do with y'all recommendations other than to approve the recommendation. We're just gonna do that one way or the other because that's what y'all do. That's all we do with you all. So I just wanted to make sure that that was clear.
That's the first I've heard that.
Well, it's out there, but it's fine. I mean, I just wanted to make sure that they knew that it was not the city council move. Only thing that we done was, like I said, why wait when, you know, the money's here, and at the same time, we only act on your recommendation.
That is correct. Y'all approved the recommendation.
Recommendation.
So
I just want your employees to know that. So
and I'm gonna say this, and I know it's on, every hourly employee received an adjustment.
Okay, well, that's fine. I mean, I'm fine, but I mean, you know, you got a few talking, and I don't know who they are, just people calling, but at the same time, you know, I'm just saying.
You wanna be on record.
There you go.
Okay.
You wanna be on record.
I wasn't for waiting
Right.
when the money was there. Now, some employees got theirs last year, and that's why I made the recommendation and moved forward with it.
All right. Thank you.
Anything else? Yes.
I got something I called and talked to Ms. Danielle about it. Is there anything that we can do, or are we looking at making a change to the way we respond to after-hours phone calls to report power outages?
We are.
A lot of complaints.
I know.
Oh, they don't answer the phone.
And we are in the process, and it's our new phone system. New phone system's great. It added 75 new lines coming into this building.
We did the same thing.
That's a great thing when you have an outage of 3 breakers, which is roughly about 1,500 people, and you have one person answering 75 lines. Okay? We're in the process of, and we've been working on this for some time, and I hope it will be implemented by the next meeting, and I will then give you an update on it then and say it is implemented. That when we get a major power outage, it literally goes to an answering service of sorts. It won't be a live person. It'll have to be an automated system that we are aware of the calls. And
you can adjust the announcement.
That's right. That is correct.
Because that was a lot of the complaint, and I actually called and rang, and somebody answered the phone and said, utility department, I know we have a power outage, we're working on it as fast as we can. And the only reason I called was so that I could get the experience, because I had 4 different people approach me and say, what the hell is going on? These guys are all sleeping and not doing anything. Just because they don't. Do you want them talking on the phone, or do you want them fixing your electricity? They can't do both.
It's after hours, it's one guy.
Yeah,
it's one person. And before there was only 4 lines coming in. So if there was 4 people, more than 4 people calling, then you got a busy signal. Now, well, you don't get a busy signal.
Even if there's an announcement that says, hey, today is July the 10th or 11th, we know we have a power outage, we're working on it, we expect power to be restored.
Right.
Whatever.
Right.
And then you can.
Right.
At least.
We're continuing to work on that to get an automated service. One of the things that we just got done after the last major outage we had, we went out and we have 10, how many breakers, Madeline? 6, 10,
Put her on the spot.
yeah, 16.
Yeah, there's
16. I had to add them real quick again, 8 by 8 substation. Okay, we had 16 breakers, and literally we went and drew lines around where the areas those breakers feed. Okay, and we hatched them in and sent JPEGs to Nick, our communications director, and our senior lineman. Okay, he comes in and he notices he has a breaker. He is going to send a text to Nick, myself, and the electrical superintendent, Mike Downing, saying Owen's breaker 1 is out. And then that is going to give Nick the ability to post on Facebook, and we'll have to see how that's going to also go on to our new website for this area is experiencing a power outage, okay? So they'll be able to see, and it's gonna be hatched, and you'll be able to see the areas. And it's got the streets behind it, so, you know, we're gonna be able to do it that way. That, you know, and I know everybody's next thing, well, I don't get on Facebook, okay? So that's where I'm trying to work through the phone. And we're gonna have I'm trying to work through the issues of having 75 lines and only one person able to answer it. And
Auto attendant would probably.
yeah, and that's what we're looking at doing, is an auto attendant.
Squelch some of it for you.
And then they'll just get a set, you know, recording, which, and some people like to talk to a human person. That's sometimes where you get into that conflict. Some people, I want to talk to a person, I want to talk to a person. When you got that many calls coming in, we just don't have the capability of answering all those numerous calls, and we're going to have to convert it to an automated service. And again, continue to find ways that we can also push out more information with technology improvements. I think one of the things that's going to help is we're going through the AMI project. When we start to see that a single meter is out, and we hope to eventually be pushing that out on our webpage, that if you just have 4 meters out, it will show that those 4 meters are out due to an outage. You know, and I want everybody to understand what it takes when we have a breaker outage. Okay, we have a breaker outage, the guy calls in, says, hey, I got an outage. First thing he does is, he's on call, he has to come in here, we're getting a tablet where he'll be able to actually look from, the senior guys will have a tablet that he's going to be able to then look at it from his house immediately and say, oh, I got a breaker, instead of having to come in and do it. Then once he does that, if it's a breaker that is out, we require them to ride that whole breaker out, the whole circuit.
You don't know what caused the fault.
Yeah.
You don't
Because
want to
I do not want them to try and throw that breaker in, but there's wire on the ground. If there's wire on the ground and we throw that breaker in, you don't, there's a major issue there, potential issue there. So, minimum, you're looking at an hour, because some of our breakers are pretty long, and you're talking, you know, 15, 20 minutes to get in, 40 minutes to ride it. If they find absolutely nothing, they come back in, and that's when they go, okay, I didn't see anything, let me try it. Minimum. If they find something, then they're then going into mode of trying to fix it.
And it could be several hours to repair.
That's correct. Okay.
I'm an Entergy customer, and I had an outage at my house Tuesday, and they sent me a text, so I knew the power was out at my house before I got home, with an estimated restoration time, and they made that. Are you working on the ability to where you could send a text like Entergy?
With our new website, we have the ability to do texting to customers. The key is the system that will have to communicate that back to the customers. And it was I can tell you, I'm an Entergy customer also, and I know the typical, if they have a breaker outage, it's immediately, the potential outage could last 3 to 4 hours. That's minimal, they'll tell you. I don't.
I'm an Energy customer in Dallas County, and I get text messages, oh, your power's out.
So we are working on improving our technology so that we can do those things. But step one is the AMI.
Well, there's on the website now, there's a place to sign up for utility messages.
Notices. Those notices, we do not have that technology
It's
yet.
not connected yet.
It's not connected yet.
When you get that automatic answer, be sure to put in there, go unplug your cable box, wait 1 minute, plug it back in.
Okay.
That's what Comcast tells you.
Still pull your meter for 30 seconds and then
No,
plug it back.
I'm not gonna have them do that. I'm not telling them that. All right.
Very good. Thank you, Tom.
Anything else to come before us?
I make a motion, be adjourned.
Have a motion to adjourn, do I have a second? Have a second, Ms. Marshall. All in favor? Aye. We stand adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.